Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4. We are deep into the round of 8 now, as our last two teams that we have not yet seen in the round of 8 so far are going to be going at it. It's going to be GC Busan versus Lunatic-Hai. Lunatic-Hai, of course, back-to-back champions. It is going to be a tough one from the team fresh out of challenges.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup, I think, for GC Busan than it was for the Foxes. Sure, they were the underdogs and they took the series. I don't know if we're going to have that compelling story in this series. I think that we're very likely to see Lunatic-Hai take a 3-0 or 3-1. They have struggled on control sometimes, so that'd probably be the map that Busan would take. But what I'm most excited about for tonight's matchup is to see what Lunatic-Hai does on this new patch, because it will also be the first time playing on the Junkrat patch. So will we see some Eska Junkrat maybe, switched in, maybe some Who Are You Junkrat, that kind of thing? Because it feels like that's like a fan service dream. When you think about the DPSs on Lunatic-Hai, you never really think about Junkrat, and then you have to pause and go, wow, this could be quite entertaining to watch, I feel. So,
especially with Zumbra on the roster as well. I mean, he's used to playing Zari in these Junkrat compositions that Flower was letting him do on Team Korea, things like that. Yeah. So, like, bringing that sort of strategy back in with them, certainly exciting. Lunatic-Hai fans are in the audience, guys. I mean, I know we talk about this every single time, but the place is full up.
Saying, Miro, you're my baby there. So
interesting.
I want to see them have a victory.
What does this one say, Wolf?
It's just basically saying you're going to get into the round of 4. I don't understand the other joke at the top. Must be a slim slang, I don't know. Okay, so some Busan fans here, obviously.
Happened. Okay, and we've got fans at the beach, so that's certainly good.
That's right, some Busan action.
Gesture fans there as well is interesting. So we've got Miro and then the Gesture fans to come in as well, so both Winstons getting even respect as far as their fans.
Busan fan on the left is actually from Busan. That's what the sign indicates anyways. Just, the girl also says below, I just feel like I'm a Busan person. Like, in my mind, I believe I'm from Busan. As okay.
Oh my god, they're amazing.
Oh, have you seen the Tropicana sparkling meme?
No, I haven't.
Definitely Google that, I would say. Definitely worth checking out. It's a good one. It's permeated Korean fan culture, and I can't even explain it. You just have to watch it.
Okay.
It's an ad that got very popular here. It's not the new Rickroll, basically.
Oh,
and,
wow.
People are Rickrolling streamers with this ad. So.
All right, I've just missed out, man. I feel like I'm too old or something like that. I'm only like a couple of years older than you. What the heck is going on here? Oh, it's a disaster.
So,
but,
yeah, I mean,
let's get into it.
This matchup is going to be a good one. I do think that Busan has a lot to prove tonight, and even if they take a map, that's pretty amazing for them if that's all they can do. Or if the maps look competitive, I think it's a good sign that their improvement is there. Because this team is not a weak team. They got out of their group, which was not an easy group. So some upsets along the way. Of course, taking out a Freaks Blue 3-0 was their biggest accomplishment so far. And upsets do happen, but Lunatic-Hai should be the favorite tonight. And no matter what roster they bring, they will be advantaged, I suppose, just based on their experience, their skill. And
yeah, GC Busan, as far as like their run through Apex so far as well, I mean, they fell to Luxury Watch Red straight away. There was a 3-1, and it was pretty convincing on the LW Red side. But then it was a 3-1 victory over the Orcas, and then the 3-0 over a Freaka Freaks Blue. And Freaka Blue, or Freaka Freaks as they are now known, certainly a team that were fantastic Season 3, but we didn't really get a gauge on them. And now, to see where GC Busan really stack up, they have to go up against Lunatic-Hai. So this is a really difficult test, but if they can take a map here, I think even just that is going to be enough to prove themselves. And then they're going to be going up against X6 if they do fall down. And then we'll get that Season 2 finals rematch with Lunatic-Hai versus Runaway. Like, this group is actually really, really exciting, but it's also really, really difficult if you're a GC Busan fan, just because it just feels super stacked. We know that, Runaway didn't have any options as far as who they were going to pick, so they had to pick X6, and therefore you get 3 of sort of the stronger teams over this side of the bracket.
Absolutely, and Lunatic-Hai will have to prove themselves as well on this tough
That's a
group,
really good point.
but
And which roster are we going to get as well? Because
Well,
they have been experimenting a lot.
they did just show us on screen, so it is going to be. I mean, we wanted to keep this a surprise for you guys, but it was Who Are You and Taejun who were just both shown on screen, so they will be in with Eska and Guido on the bench. So as much as it would have been fun to tease you guys on that one, they spoiled it for us showing that Who Are You shot a second
No, but
ago.
it's actually really cool to like talk about it though, because I feel like we do need some time. Because now that Eska's not on the roster, like, what do they do? Do they have Miro as a shot caller? Like, what is going to happen here? What do you think is sort of the plan, or is it going to be Taejun that now is going to step up into more of that shot calling role?
I don't think Taejun could shot call if his life depended on.
Well,
his
yeah, that's
personality.
the sort of fear that I had at the same time.
So
I
I
don't know
think-
why I decided to opt in for him as being the
I think
opportune.
Miro is
shot caller.
a good call because he's leading the dives a lot of time. You can tell with how they've been playing.
Yeah.
Also, it's a possibility Toby could be the shot caller as well. Jaeyoung's older, has experience, right? It just depends on how they want to run the show. Zeska normally sits in that captain's chair, right? But there's a lot of shot calling going on across the board. So we'll have to wait and see how it pans out tonight.
Yeah, see how it does pan out. And also, they've been experimenting with this DPS roster as well. But let's do it. Let's have a look at what these teams are going to be saying to one another to start us off.
죽음의 조라고 하는데 언제는 뭐 쉬운 적이 있었나요? 그래도 올라갈 팀은 올라간다. 8강은 저희가 4번째로 진출하는 거기 때문에 딱히 특별한 건 없어요.
GC 부산 3대 빵으로 8강에 갔습니다.
우리가 노력한 만큼 돌아왔다고 생각해요. 에이펙스 생각보다는 꽤 쉬운 것 같아요. 제가 평소에 좀 좋아하는 팀들도 실제로도 볼 수 있고 되게 신기했고 재밌어요. 미로 선수랑 류재홍 선수를 제일 좋아해요.
어느 팀과 경기를 할까요? 첫 번째. 바로. 네, GC 부산.
루나틱하이만큼은 피하고 싶었는데 너무 슬프네요.
GC 부산이 무대 경험도 적고 다른 일부 팀들보다는 좀 변수가 적다고 생각해서 선택하게 되었어요. 전형적인 딜러 캐리 팀이 아닌가 그렇게 생각해요.
딜러 이름이 누군데요?
프로핏 맞나? 프로핏이 둔피하는 사람 맞죠? 이구 팀은 잘 안 보거든요. 큰일 났네. 엘더 레드까진 봐요. 이거는 안 나가겠죠.
그러면 안 돼요.
딜러를 못 잡았기 때문에 초기화도 안 됐고요. 너무 일방적입니다.
아프리카전 보셨잖아요. 저희 팀이 한 몇 달 전까지만 해도 챌린저스였거든요. 에이펙스에 임하는 태도가 달라요. 저희가 8강 온 거 예상 못했듯이 깜짝 놀랄 모습 보여드릴게요.
천재지변이나 뭐 저희 재홍이 형이 밤에 막 야식을 먹다 배탈이나 경기를 못 뛴다든지 저희 팀 멤버 몸 상태만 좋으면 크게 걱정되는 건 없습니다. 인피스트 덕을 본 팀이 너무 많아서 이제 너프가 됐는데 8강부터는 쉽지 않을 거예요.
보니까 그렇네. 하지만 그래도 우리 팀 딜러진이 더 세다 생각해요. 다 잘해가지고 딱히 구멍도 없는 것 같고 전략도 그만큼 많기 때문에 충분히 이길 수 있다 생각해요. 다른 점은 이름값밖에 없는 것 같아요.
GC가 8강이라니. MVP랑 메타하테나 좀 너무 안쓰러운데. 경기 때마다 서로까지 오시기 힘드실 텐데 이번 시즌은 여기까지만 하는 걸로 합시다.
인터스텔라 한 편 찍어드리겠습니다.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6, quarterfinals. Today's matchup, Lunatic-Hai, GC Busan.
All right, now it looks like Lunatic-Hai don't actually have any subs here at all, so they're going to be playing with this roster but the whole time, it seems.
Seems that way. Well, now we know that the reason why Jaehong was gone on
Because he
Friday,
had indigestion from
Yeah,
eating snacks at night?
so I think it can now be considered Apex canon that he missed that day because of eating late night snacks.
All right.
The mystery is solved. It's canon, guys. All
Well,
right.
I certainly knew that it wasn't because he was at military training, because he was standing in the booth. So military was probably not going to be the option there. Upset stomach, that certainly does make a little bit more sense. But you heard Ariel there in the interview. He's going to be standing alongside GC Busan. We'll see who is going to be leading as far as tank play is concerned. But certainly a few options here for GC Busan as far as that is concerned.
Okay, well, this is definitely setting up to be a great matchup here, man. And Busan definitely looks confident. They know the weaknesses they have now with Doomfist being changed, being nerfed, and they've definitely clearly prepared a new strategy heading into this first matchup for the round of 8.
Yeah, and I wonder whether Toby has actually done any research on what the heck this team actually is as well, because that was honestly quite hilarious. But let's interview or meet Lunatic-Hai to start things off. Pretty sure you guys know them.
근데 이걸 또 재우네요.
류재홍, 토비,
이태준도 한번 여기 공격해줘. 널 던져줄게. 기가 막혀.
이태준,
이다 보니까 근데 메타타는 이렇게 다 잘려 있어. 사람은 있습니다만 최대 버틸 만큼 버텨줘야 되고요.
에스카 맥크리로 바꿨고요.
어딜 또 올라와? 왜? 밀어버리고 굉장히 오랫동안 좀 민호 선수가 아직 몰라요.
네. 자, 근데 계속 밀어.
미로,
용감도
틀리지 않았고.
이제 나오잖아요. 실은 다 죽였어요.
이거 이따 하나 사냥 2대까지. 이것이 호아유다. 네. 호아유 선수가
Who are you?
있어도 되죠. 위치 보다가 많이 못 쳤어. 벽 쪽에다가
내가 다 처리한다.
이게 잘해야죠. 중력작한 쓰는 센스는 진짜 세계 최고다.
그렇습니다. 근데 이거 중력작한
절망이죠. 절망.
줌바,
백합 파괴. 자, 근데 바로 부활하나?
부활했지만 체력이 좀 됐죠.
네, 자,
이거 부활 목수가 잘 잘랐죠.
네, 부활까지 써주면서 자, 하나하나 끌어주는데요. 자, 시간 없습니다.
에스카.
오, 에스카 정신다.
에스카, 기도, Lunatic-Hai.
Almost too many highlight videos to actually fit into that package, I'll be perfectly honest, but this team has been playing pretty exceptionally well after what was a pretty disappointing loss to start things off against MVP Space, where I thought that the whole season was going to be turned on its head, but of course, we're in the round of 8, and we have Lunatic-Hai here looking to try and make their way towards the next round to face Runaway for that finals rematch from Season 2.
So DPS is here, will be Who Are You and Lee Tae-jun. So the two of them together will be leading the DPS charge. Jaehong is back in the booth. His indigestion has subsided, and it will be Miro at the top in the captain's chair here, as Eska will be taking a seat on the bench, at least for this opening map here for Lunatic-Hai. And this is a roster that we have seen before, and I feel like we can very confidently say the Tae-jun we saw that lost to Yaki in those Tracer 1v1s against MVP Space and the Tae-jun we see today are two different players. There's been massive improvements. His Tracer play and his coordination was better, and he now feels like he's fully returned to form since his absence starting from Season 2. So now that he's back, I feel like this starting lineup in terms of DPS is a very strong one. It's very good for control. And who knows, we could see Eska subbed in as we get into the deeper maps if we need to see that Soldier play, but we know that Jaehong is very good at Soldier as well, so we can see some triple DPS Soldiers. Jaehong can flex onto that if we
Taejun has also played it a bit himself, so
I mean,
they're not too worried about that one.
We could definitely see some triple DPS stuff here from this team, so talk about it more though, of course, after introducing their opponents here in GC Busan.
GC Busan.
뒤에 돌아왔어요. 부차 반대쪽 바닥에. 근데 오히려
다니엘이 메카가 터져서
레전드.
맞춰놨기 때문에 체력이 없는 거를 정리를 해줘도 부차.
됩니다. 약속하자 병.
Profit.
그냥 일반적으로 얻어가지고 큰일 납니다. 그러면 우리 도망가고.
그럼 완벽하죠?
시작부터 끝까지 후레이 꿈에 나올까 무서워. 꿈에 나올까 무서워요.
오늘 후레
이거죠 이거. 있으면 클로저가 친구고 덮어야죠.
Hooray.
있거든요. 아니네 무섭죠. 우리 재워놓고 끌리면 오히려 주심단이 위험해집니다. 잘 줬죠?
Hagopen.
어쨌든 지시부사 또 버텨주고 있었던 상황.
못 도망갔고요. 1분만.
Audio. Closure. Gesture. Uhyal. GC Busan.
Okay, I did not know that that was how close his name was pronounced.
Yeah, today I learned this team has, very similarly to NC Foxes that we saw earlier, made a big splash with the Doomfist play we saw out of Ureg. Of course, Prophet's had his share of amazing pulse bombs. Ariel will be sitting on the bench to start things off tonight, despite having that opening interview. Will be Uhal, who most analysts will agree has overall outperformed Ariel on the Diva here, starting things off. I feel like, no pun intended, we have seen Gesture make big leaps in terms of how he's improved his Winston play, because we start our opening of Season 4 with the Eco Leap joke because he had gone in without coordination with his team going in alone many times, so he picked first, and they struggled in their opening map, their opening control map against Luxury Watch Red, ended up losing the series, but I feel like Gesture has improved quite a bit, and this is a different roster. It's a stronger roster than where we started in the round of 16, and it's just better coordination. We're seeing it seems like they've decided Wual is the better Diva player, was the sub, now he's the main, whereas Ariel's been taking that seat on the bench. And they know tonight, going into this series, they are the underdogs. No doubt. There's not any person in the world who would disagree with that.
They get that nothing to lose mentality as well, right? So they're not under any pressure here at all. They're also not going to be kicked out if they lose this, so pressure even less. So we are going to head to Oasis for map number 1. I actually like it. I feel like Oasis is going to show us a lot of the opportunities here, and you can imagine with Oasis being picked up, they probably wished that they had Eska on the side of Lunatic-Hai just because Sombra so good some of these maps.
I would love to see Taejun play it though. I'm sure he's been practicing it if he's going to be on the starting lineup.
I'm sure he barely even needs to, right? Just because he is a fantastic hit scan player.
We'll see how well he can play it if that is going to be the tactic they want to use. Question is, will we see Junkrat here on this map, and how relevant will Doomfist be in the series? Remember, Hurag played almost exclusively Doomfist throughout the round of 16.
Yeah, even Prophet picked it up a couple of times, so certainly should be something that we are going to see. But there's only one way to find out whether we will as we head into game number 1 between Lunatic-Hai and GC Busan. Let's head to Oasis. So not as many cheers, but certainly some enthusiastic ones, Wolf.
Oh, certainly so. Busan fans coming out in droves tonight. Many of them, as mentioned before, coming all the way from the city of Busan, which is on the coast, very far from Seoul. It's a 3-hour train ride by bullet train can be up to 5 hours by train, or sorry, by bus or driving, depending on how you're taking that. But
how much by plane? Because, you know, Air Busan does sponsor this team, so
it's
they're
about
probably going to be able to get a flight or two.
about 45 minutes, I think, to an hour or so from.
I could
by
imagine,
flight.
like, you'd get up to flight speed and then immediately just land.
Essentially, yes. It's a very quick flight, just like flight to Jeju. So, Hureg on the Soldier. No Doomfist. Might be Rip Doomfist. Is what we learned tonight. Who Are You will be on the Pharah, so the Soldier will be a good answer to the opening Pharah Mercy comp here for Lunatic-Hai. Taejin will, of course, be on his Tracer. Now, we've already got the opening picks here for Lunatic-Hai.
They're trading 1-for-1 though, and Miro falling down is very important. Hagopyeon not going to have the Discord orbs to try and soften up the members of Lunatic-Hai, but still, with Miro missing, does mean that that dive is impossible.
Everyone has returned here now. Miro's on his way back. We'll be able to contest this. No one's really dealing with that Who Are You Pharah in the sky currently, though. Watch this 1v1.
Yeah, Lee Taejun just looking to try and take down Prophet, but does put his attention elsewhere.
Toby the God guarding him there.
Oh, Jaehonk's going to get taken down. Jess just starting up this fight nicely. And now they're able to grab even more. The first cap is going to go to Lunatic-Hai, but they lose 3. That is going to be a pretty immediate switch back.
Certainly
You have
will
to
be.
assume?
Yeah. Taejin will buy some time here, which is always worth it. Even if he died, that would have probably been worth it. They'll grab the 11%, but that's all. Taejin looks to reset their Prophet. He has actually been a Prophet, so to speak, in his chases that we've seen of Taejin. Looks like that's his goal so far from what we've seen from him, is to win the 1v1 against Taejin. And had Toby not saved him in that last fight, he certainly would have gotten that pick. So props to Toby for that. Oh, no res.
Another one there as well. So Prophet just getting himself in and amongst it, picking up exactly what they need. Hureg with the tac visor now on the high ground as well. He's going to get blocked out by Zumba a lot of the time, but he's still going to lose his mech. The whole front line's now dead, and Hureg, he did his job. Most certainly did, and that is going to be 40% now, ticked up on the clock. Certainly Lunatic-Hai have given away caps before, and then they play so well in the clutch moments, but that's 5 ultimates that they're staring down the barrel of, and that was only one that GC Busan needed to try and confirm that point.
Lunatic-Hai is going to have all 6. We see Prophet. He does help secure the kill on Jaehoong. That means no res, but mid-air there, sure, Wuyao did help out, but that's the kind of play I like to see, the rocket tracer.
Yeah, just launches himself forward and actually didn't need to use the pulse bomb as well.
People say she was a former pilot, but in this case, not true. And now they've got the big 6, but so does Busan. They've only really given away that tac visor. The most important ult here, though, is going to be the res, because no matter what you do with your opening ults, if the pharmacy lives, and we do see the res come through from Jaehoong, all your hard work just melts in an instant. Pulse bomb fails to connect there. Okay, here comes the sound barrier. They're going to open this one up with that.
Yeah, Rocket Barrage does fly down as well, and there's no defense matrix at all to try and stop that, because of course he was busy throwing out a self-destruct. It does take down Jaehoong, so theoretically successful. The pulse bomb does go wide. Taejin needs to get his eye in so far. Got a remech here, and I believe that was more of a eco self-destruct to try and get that healing back in, as Lunatic-Hai should be able to get a recap. They're very, very close. The overtime has already hit for GC Busan. Miro starting things off nicely, utilizing his Primal Rage to try and grab that kill, and Prophet still doing well. I'm not sure whether it is going to be enough, as Lunatic-Hai are wiping the floor now with the rest of GC Busan.
And they held on to their ults. They used them so well. I mean, Lunatic-Hai is probably the best mechanical team in the world, no doubt, but also their ult usage and staggering, as we just saw there, was beautiful. The sound barrier into the barrage to kill the Winston, and right afterwards the self-destruct for Zumba. Very well played. Primal Rage come in to finish all off, and they hold the res. They keep it alive here. And sure, it was a 99-11, but still, they're very much in great position in terms of their ultimates. That res is going to buy them so much time, as long as Jaehoong continues to position correctly.
Oh, Busan are going to split themselves up. That's going to be a base bomb onto Hureg. You saw that. He caught that with his visor. That's not exactly what you want, as Taejin's going to continue being aggressive. Primal Rage comes down from Gesture, but I think that might just be him trying to let us know exactly how he's feeling, because honestly, wasn't exactly going to go their way. However, Who Are You was knocked out of the sky, and I may have spoken too soon as Zumba's going to lose his mech.
Where's Jaehong? That's the question. Where's that res? They can hold this for a little bit longer.
Yeah, you'd think that they would have been able to pick him back up, but Hurek's going to throw down Attack Visor.
Okay.
For no reason. That's an odd one, and that's going to be GC Busan just locking it down.
They just wanted to have control. I suppose they were trying to find where the Mercy was going to approach for to try to attempt to get a res, to try to attempt to get the Mercy back there. That was one of the most calm captures of all time.
Yeah, almost snuck up on us, to be perfectly honest.
But let's not get too excited for GC Busan just yet. I feel like there was definitely some beautiful plays on the side of Lunatic-Hai. They got caught a bit off guard. That res they held never found value. That's the most important ult. They shut it down a few times. But Prophet played well. He did decently well, but that's just the first map of control. And historically, Lunatic-Hai, if they drop maps, it is on this map type. Now, what we're seeing here from Busan is they're going to run Hureg on the McCree. Again, not running the Doom Blitz he showed on this point so many times in the past. They want to deal with Taeju and the dive that's been so successful.
Speaking of so successful, I actually really like this from Lunatic-Hai. I expected that this could be one of the options that they were going to go for because we saw that it was so incredibly successful for the NC Foxes in our last matchup. Having the Tracer Genji as that front line.
Who Are You Genji as well, one of the most famous in the world. You do have options as the McCree with the stun grenade available. That wasn't the one he was looking for, but
they're just going to be taken down here as well. So GC Busan with that first cap, and they're going to continue by picking up extra kills. The man advantage so important, and these staggered kills on the return.
Oh yeah, this is going to be
looking brilliant so far. And as far as coming out the gate strong is concerned, can you do any better than what GC Busan has shown us so far this series?
I mean, you really can't. I mean, this is exactly what you want to look for if you're trying to have a great start against Lunatic-Hai. They were humble in the interview as well, and this team is just prepared really well against the styles that they know Lunatic-Hai were likely to run. And this McCree is such a great adaptation against the Genji player we're seeing in Who Are You. And Prophet, man, he is just so good in these 1v1s. It's insane. And now just going to look for some backline picks. Didn't get the kill onto Taejun.
Yeah, half a tick. Half cap, sorry, for Lunatic-Hai, as they have been on this point, but Zumba's going to be removed, and Who Are You with the Dragon Blade is just going to get evaporated. Gesture going to zap him to death. And Hureg now, great position, has the Deadeye available. We've got a Primal Rage there for Gesture as well, and Gesture, we're over 50%.
He did this without using his Primal Rage. He was just in good position. The barrier was really well placed. They had to use the Transcendence, but that's about it. And Lunatic-Hai could be very frustrated with the fact that the Dragon Blade was wasted there. That's such an important tool for their composition that's just now down the drain. They do not have an ult advantage. Who Are You is getting dove upon here again. They will save him. Looks like Wulial wanted to get hyper aggressive.
Yeah. Orb's going to get thrown out here by Jaehong, but he's forced into using that Transcendence relatively aggressively. But with Taejun picking up the kill onto Hagupyeon, this could be an opportunity for Lunatic-Hai to snowball, get a little bit more. Hureg's going to get chased down and destroyed. Jaehong also going to get the same fate.
Looked like a little bit of disconnect. Looks like the tanks want to dive onto Jaehong, and they did, but he used Transcendence, he survived, and that meant that no one was protecting the backline against Taejun, who was able to get those backline picks that led to the win. It was a really clutch Transcendence out of Jaehong, and maybe a little bit of disjointed attack from Busan, but they still have the massive advantage in terms of capture.
Yeah, 94% just from that first one feels pretty damn good. But still, a few ultimates missing as far as collecting things up for a switchover. One thing I would like to see would be the Ana from Jaehong, because it just was so successful on the side of NC Foxes, and we know what Jaehong does on that particular hero.
Okay, Who Are You doesn't have that Dragon Blade just yet.
GC Busan actually picking up multiple kills, yeah. Half the members of Lunatic-Hai have been removed, and if they get any more than this, it could just be they've wiped off. We'll get to 99%.
They have a Dragon Blade, but no support ultimates. They don't have Primal Rage or a Self-Destruct. Contesting this point is going to be so hard. Hagupyeon's already used this Transcendence. The beat on that Pulse Bomb was magnificent for Wulial. This is their last chance. This Dragon Blade needs to do work, and it will not.
It's not. Hagupyeon's just going to throw orbs into Who Are You's head, and that could have just spelt the end for Lunatic-Hai on control to start this one off. Of course, don't start writing anything in your diary about Lunatic-Hai being taken down just yet. Losing control certainly has been a thing they've done in the past, but man, you talk about momentum for teams like this. We were talking about this in regards to their match against Afrika as well, and we kept saying it. You know, you go into the next series and you're like, oh, well, they won that one as well. And then you go into the third one and you're like, well, now could be the time when, wait, no, it's a 3-0. Sometimes you've just got to sit back and start giving GC Busan credit.
Yeah, and I think credit is deserved here. The play out of Gesture was really well done, and the McCree choice was, I think, the best DPS possible they could have picked against this composition. As Hagu, very happy with his performance on it, it looks like here. Historically, in moments like these, Lunatic-Hai will call a tactical pause, but headsets are still on. I think that, in fact, they're just going to let this one go into the second map here without a pause. They want to save that for later. Oh, I spoke too soon. Caster Curse.
Yep,
so let's talk about...
mind.
Let's talk about like what went wrong here. I talked about this in the series where they played just last time, and we saw basically out of meta Athena this counter dive style with the McCree, where they were trying to punish Miro. Miro is the target. Lunatic-Hai's dive is so coordinated, and sometimes it just feels like it's almost better than perfect, right? But when you see Miro come through, if you've got a good Zenyatta player and you've got a McCree, you burst down the Miro in this case, the Winston, and if the Winston survives, then he has to leave, and then the rest of the team is open. And I think that's a little bit of what we saw there. Gesture, then he waits defensively, chases down the squishies, while McCree is then either able to clean up the kills, or maybe it's not McCree, maybe it's Prophet, depends on the situation. And while all that's happening, then McCree gets into a high ground position. He gets into a place where he can shoot pot shots, as we saw there on University. So maybe playing a little bit more of a defensive setup is going to be the better way. With the comp, they decided they had to dive, they had to be aggressive. They didn't have a hit scan player. They had Who Are You on the Genji, so they needed to be proactive in the dive. But the counter to it was really well executed, and looks like Miro is pretty frustrated here based on what we're seeing in the booth.
I don't know. I feel like Miro never really looks frustrated. Right now, he looks a little bit like he just wants to get into the next match, you know, get it underway. Because as far as phasing Lunatic-Hai is concerned, I feel like you don't do it. They don't tilt easily. That's why they get into 7-game series in finals and then are still able to hold themselves together and come out with the victory like they did at the end of Season 3. Not to mention all of the reverse sweeps that they've had across the years.
Yeah, looks like just based on what we're seeing here, it looks to be a very Miro-focused discussion in the booth as hands are held here. Tense moment, no doubt, and I have to say the handling of the dive was really good. The handling of especially Taejun on the Tracer was really good out of Prophet, especially.
I feel like Prophet just was the better Tracer on the day.
Yeah,
to be
outside.
honest. Well, not necessarily on the day because we haven't seen the rest of it just yet. But
Sure.
Prophet was certainly playing very, very well and an echelon above what Taejun has been able to bring to the table.
Outside, when he was chasing down Taejun, and we saw Toby save him a few times, it was really fantastic to watch. So now I think we didn't really talk about maps here. I feel like Lunatic-Hai they don't have a map special because they're so good at every map, right? There's no map where you feel like, oh, this is not a Lunatic-Hai map, right? A map they should avoid. I think that
Eichenwald was very impressive last time they went there, but it was a different composition.
Sure. I think if you take the dive that they're so good at with the comps, with the roster they're using, where they actually have Who Are You in the booth, with Taejun, I think they can have a strong attack on Eichenwald, and also the high ground defense we've seen on that map. Put a soldier up there, take the defensive stance. Numbani as well, if they want to put Taejun on soldier, which as you mentioned before we have seen, Numbani is a good pick here. Kings Row is the one that's just standard, right? It doesn't stand out to you in terms of comps. You're not going to pick Kings Row because you have a special plan probably with this team.
It's always the map that you're scared of picking against Lunatic-Hai as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
now that they get the choice, it would make some sense. Going back to Comfort after losing the first map in a series.
What I will say is I don't think there's a best map choice necessarily for Lunatic-Hai, but the map choice will tell us a lot about what they're thinking going into the second map of Hybrid and how they want to deal with the play we're seeing from Gesture, Prophet's back dives, and how they want to use Miro perhaps a little bit differently in terms of how they dive this team that's so good at discording him and knocking him out of the fight.
We are going to be able to find out exactly what map we are going to be heading towards for Hybrid. Number 2 here in this series. Hollywood is another one that they have been very, very good at in the past, but King's Row sort of feels like the no-brainer for Lunatic-Hai just because everyone avoids trying to pick it against them. You may as well now, given the opportunity, grab that one for yourself.
When Lunatic-Hai is very likely, I mean, there's almost no arguments against this anymore, the best team in the world at the moment. When you're down a map like this, you pick the most standard map. You remove all variables, you remove all variances, you say, let's play this 1v1 Final Destination, no items, okay? I'm the best team in the world. I want to take the easiest, most simple map here, just play standard, get the momentum back. If we need it later on as we go into Game 5, maybe that's when they choose a more technical map for a second hybrid if the series goes that long. But they're just trying to bounce back momentum right now because this is a situation happened to Lunatic-Hai countless times. It happened against Meta Athena in their last match. They lose control and then swing in with a 3-1. This is not an uncommon occurrence.
That's exactly right. It feels like they're even scarier and scarier as things go on. So Lunatic-Hai now to try and bounce back on King's Row, something that they've done many, many times. GC Busan trying to move to that match point. We'll see what happens as we head to King's Row.
I get it.
Lunatic-Hai fan, cheer starter, lost her voice after the first game.
Yep.
She's going to have to maybe get some hot water. She's going to make it to the end of this series.
GC Busan fans, though, are just so enthusiastic. There might be 8 of them in the audience or something like that. However, they scream their lungs out.
Certainly so.
I hope that Lunatic-Hai actually go for something like this. Oh no, they're in the attack. That's not going to happen.
Never going to happen, but it looks like we might see Profit on the Junkrat.
This is a cool defensive comp.
Yeah, historically,
GC Busan.
we have seen since the double concussive mine patch and speed increase for the Junkrat, we've seen a lot of tracers being replaced with the Junkrat and then the soldiers on this map, right? So Red can then hold the high ground, hit scan, deal with the dive passively, of course, because they have their focus has been defeating Miro on the Winston early. That's why they have Hagelpin on this Zenyatta. And Profit's going to switch. In fact, they're just going to, again, I'm not sure what happened there, but they're just going to, again, try to deal with the dive of Miro. But it's not going to be dive. It's going to be Winston, or sorry, Zarya Rein.
This is just everyone's most notable hero.
With the exception of Miro.
All right, yes.
But otherwise, yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous that I forget that he's not on Winston. But still, for everybody else,
certainly
it's pretty exciting.
I mean, straight up. I mean,
Miro,
this is the all-star comp you want,
yeah.
right?
And you remember the interview with Miro as well. He's always wanted to be known as the Reinhardt guy as well as the Winston guy.
Yeah, he never wants everyone to think he's just a one-trick Winston. He can play a good Rein. So they're already getting the opening pick onto Hureg that controls the DPS here. Wuyal is just desperately trying to buy time on this fight, but the fight is already won. The high ground is no longer to Busan. Their comp will now fall apart. Noryu has free reign. This should be the capture for Lunatic-Hai.
Yeah. Huyu is going to fall down, but that was 3 people that were running away from him, so that's going to spell the cap for Lunatic-Hai extraordinarily quickly.
Now let's also talk about how this is not the Phalanx comp. This is not actually how this comp is normally played. Normally you have 2 slower heroes that do a lot of DPS like a McCree and Junkrat, as we saw earlier. We almost never see this with dive at the same time, so it's kind of crazy how they approached getting Huryu into a position where he could get 1 dash to kill Hureg. It was really well done. Huryu is just hiding behind the shield. Then when he's in range to dash and kill the soldier, they regain control of the high ground, and it all just in one fell swoop, the point was captured. So very well coordinated by Lunatic-Hai.
I like it with this Ana as well, just because you have those long-range heals if Huryu is going to be, not bursted down immediately like you did just then. Pulse Bomb just going to hang out for a little while and then explode. We'll see whether Profits is going to be any better.
Because this comp is so turtley, it's odd to see 2 mobile DPSs with the Tracer and Genji. But the Ana is used as a really big catalyst for incredible moments where you essentially, while you're all turtle up, get these huge grenades that heal. Zumba is going to hold this until the D-Matrix is down. In fact, I don't even think he'll need to use it here. He's going to use it regardless.
Yeah,
only
throws
gets
it straight
Jester.
in. Yeah, Jester's going to be taken out, but that is still important. Lunatic-Hai on the attack, just trying to get this payload moving forwards. For you, Discord Orb was down on him, but the Orb of Harmony feels like he counteracted it just a little bit. No, that's not necessarily how that one works.
Earth Shatter is available, so despite the fact that Zumba used that early, they have a ton of other tools to try to get completion, and Miro is holding on to that Earth Shatter, or sorry, excuse me, the Dragon Blade is being held onto by Who Are You, so this could be an incredible moment for them regardless. They have Nano Boost or Nano Blade. Speaking of which...
Yep, that is going to fly forward right now. Self-destruct was in there, and Who Are You actually got a decent amount of damage in, but Hureg's just going to throw a Helix Rocket at him. That's going to be enough. Flame Strike actually takes down Gesture. But there's the Earth Shatter. Can Miro actually find it? Doesn't get the pin onto anyone, but is going to be able to turn around, backhand Hagopion with his hammer. That's the savior play right there.
Dragon Blade was just a distraction.
Yeah, there we are. Zoning Dragon Blade. Nailed
zoning
it.
Dragon Blade, zoning Nano Blade.
Perfect.
So they will get the completion. They had more ults than GC Busan, so this was going to be a likely scenario either way, but see how good this Earth Shatter really is in terms of angling here. Oh, perfect. It's the double. Even with the boop here, he's able to basically secure double kill.
Got a little bit too much air to grab the pin as well.
Zumba built up to another surge as well. As we see Taejun switch, this is going to be another opportunity if they get a good angle. D-Matrix is up first, so they wait.
Yeah, Transcendence does come down here as well, as now Zumba, Sound Barrier is on top of him as well. When is that grab surge going to come out? That is the question. Throws it into the
other
wall.
side!
Massive work! All too easy for Lunatic-Hai. You expect this from now. Prophet's actually picked up a Zarya of his own, by the way. Its Gesture is on the Reinhardt as well. But Lunatic-Hai, they are a freight train moving forward, and it feels like we've got a floundering GC Busan as this payload is just heading straight towards the finish line.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do now? This is such a bad spot. Nano used here for Zumba to go and clean house. Hureg's gone. That means no more DPS here. Prophet does not have that Graviton that he so desperately needs.
Oh, God. The microwave is so deadly from Lunatic-Hai. Zumba always so high on that charge.
3:24 is the finishing time here.
Oh, my God.
Talk about bouncing back. We talked about how well the Zenyatta dealt with the dives we were seeing from Miro and Who Are You, where the target was there, the focusing was there by Hureg to at least either kill Miro or force him out of the fight. Shrugging it off, but I guess one way to stop that from happening is to simply not play the dive Winston, play the slow turtley version to allow these positions for Who Are You, slowly push forward. That was really well done, and it was a comp we haven't really quite seen the likes of.
And it's also a comp that doesn't necessarily work very well in the Foundry as well. We often see the switchbacks to dive, things like that. But Lunatic-Hai made that one work, which makes it even more scary because it feels like GC Busan now have to play ultra hard mode against a team that now gets to play their favorite defensive style ever.
Yeah. So now let's see. I mean, this is actually... Oh, they teased this earlier. Zumba on the Winston with the Miro Reinhardt, but let's see how this attack gets set up here, because GC Busan obviously doesn't know whether it will be Reinhardt Zarya, or in this case, Reinhardt Winston. And
Zumba's just being a jerk.
he is. Hureg is sticking with the McCree here, which is going to be good against the dive, but not necessarily going to work very well against this Reinhardt Zarya.
Just feel like you got Jaehong on the Ana and then Zumba Zarya. Just, it's so difficult to pierce this backline.
Especially with hit scan.
Yeah, and without something like a Doomfist that was so prevalent in weeks past, and now with, you know, slight hotfix just not seen at all today.
Not a single minute of game time. All right, they're going to scout this first. Looks like Hurek thinks that this is the answer here, is the Hanzo to try to do that burst damage to the back, and also his Dragon Strikes can counter this because there's no real running for that. When you're all turtled in one position, that's when the Dragon Strike is going to be really strong. But he needs to build ult percentage to use that, and the shields don't give you ult percentage, and he's not even able to find an angle right now whatsoever. This is a bit of a challenge.
Yep, does get the Sonic arrow in there, so a little bit more information gained as GC Busan just move up to the point. Yeah, nice headshot on Lunatic-Hai, but answered back immediately by Huayu's own. Zumba setting things up. I feel like you need to kill more than just one in order to break open this composition from Lunatic-Hai. But Jester's going to make his way in, and the barbecue has happened onto this monkey who has to jump the hell out of there. It's too much consistent damage as we've got 100% basically onto Zumba.
Well, this could still work for GC Busan, 100%. They have opportunities, but Hurek needs to spend less time with his death timer up on the Hanzo if they're going to make this happen. Because
being less dead is often something that you want to be aiming for.
But he didn't build any Dragon Strike. He was only at halfway, so he's now going to make the switch because he knows that this Hanzo comp is just going to cost them too much of a time bank. They have an incredible time bank against them, so trying to risk this anymore after 2 deaths, he says, no, I'm just not even going there. Let's just switch back to the McCree. Appreciate it, though, because it is a tough decision to make on the fly like this.
Well, they're going to dive right in on top. The barrier immediately evaporates, though, and this composition has a lot of damage, especially consistently. As Closer is going to be able to take down Taejun, but he did his job. He got rid of the mech, and that just means that there's nothing to stop this onslaught of Lunatic-Hai, who are going to jump forward and look to spawn camp, basically, onto GC Busan.
Nothing like
this
Lunatic-Hai.
stagger is ludicrous, by the way.
Nothing like a Lunatic-Hai crowd to scream when Who Are You destroys a defenseless pilot diva.
Yeah.
Crowd's like roaring.
Oh,
I'm like,
so good. Look at those mechanics.
I'm like, well, did Wuhel really have a chance? I don't think so. Well, they have ult advantage now because of the Hurek switch, and hit scan is so difficult to make happen against this comp. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it here, Atlas. They're going to need to have some really coordinated dive. They do use the Transcendence to start this one off.
But now we've got shields coming in. Lunatic-Hai are going to answer back, but Lee Taejun, he's fallen down. Do they necessarily need him, though, as Hurek's going to fall? Toby, he might be a more necessary one, as there's the grab surge. But GC Busan answering back very, very nicely. Prophet takes down Jaehong as well. The nano boost did go out, but just not enough really gained, and Zumba going to do some seppuku, gets himself out. So we've got half of this point, maybe a little bit cocky with Lunatic-Hai, as we are finally going to get this cap with a minute to spare for GC Busan.
Yep. So they'll top up to 3:34, 10 seconds away from the final time of Lunatic-Hai, but they've got a long push to toss through. Now, I think the defense there was a little bit disjointed from Lunatic-Hai. Zumba really wanted to use that Graviton Surge, and then we saw Wuhel fly in at such a weird angle. I think even Zumba was like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? You know, Wuhel's coming at a weird angle. Tried to get the wall surge off, only hit Wuhel, so the Graviton Surge didn't eat it, or sorry, the defense just didn't eat it, but didn't get the value he wanted, and everything fell apart after that.
Well, Jester actually able to take down Jaehong as well, so they can they're continuing this. Toby with his anti-tracer work is decent, but that's a good sleep dart.
Miro does go down here. You have to wonder if he'll make the switch over to the Winston now. It's very difficult to make this comp work on defense after point A. Taejun's down. I don't know about this.
That's what I want, and of course Miro now with absolutely no ult percentage, so he had the opportunity to change pretty freely.
Yeah.
Decides not to.
Maybe they want to try to get one more really good Graviton Surge with Zumba since he's so high on energy. Unfortunately, he was the first to get picked off in that last exchange. But this is a really great push, a great time for Busan. Who Are You's out again from Hagopun's left clicks. He's going to right click again here. And they need that Graviton Surge. I don't know if they're going to have it quickly enough.
Oh,
Miro's
Prophet,
down.
Yeah. Gets in behind as Hurek looking for a dead eye and finds it, just gets the turn, and Taejun once again going to fall. And I want to know what his death count is at right about now, because he spent a lot of time with his screen not necessarily being very interactive.
He's going to now interact with a different hero, I suppose, with the McCree coming in. Zumba does finally have that Graviton. This can be used, if used correctly, to build into immediately afterwards. No matter if Miro's at 0, he can go immediately to an Earth Shatter from that. So it can be used to build another ultimate. It can be used for a full team wipe. Such a powerful tool and one of the best Zarya players in the world. He's going to hold it for the time being, though. Trying to get a back angle here.
Yeah,
Such a
there
good
it
angle.
is. That's going to be 3 members stuck inside. Hurek takes down Huayu, though, and he couldn't get any dashes through. There was no follow-up to the grab surge. Yes, you're right. Zumba, fantastic player, but the rest of the team needs to follow up for abilities like that, and they just flat out weren't ready. Gesture's going to start smashing people around. And we said it was a fantastic time bank for Lunatic-Hai. It looks like GC Busan aiming for something relatively similar as they're looking for the spawn camp at the same time. They just want to park this right on top. Huayu wants to be able to jump on this point.
Hey, there's a pick on the Miro. They've got the Dragon Blade here.
Yeah, Hurek's going to be taken down, but Gesture says goodbye to Huayu.
Every kill is so much more valuable for Lunatic-Hai, though. Close call, certainly, but they survive here. They get a few picks, and that is all it takes to stave off this first push. Busan's run to the finish line was much more impressive than Lunatic-Hai's in terms of the street phase, right? But they still have a worse time bank, and it's going to get even worse from here. So we'll make the switch to Zarya. As Who Are You is actually going to play the Junkrat here.
Okay, a different one, not wanting to be the Genji.
It's just been shut down too many times. He used his Dragon Blade well enough.
I feel a little bit bad if I accidentally dashed off an edge or something like that.
Okay, Hurek's going to make a risky switch here. Ooh!
Finds one, yeah. Taejun's going to fall down. Maybe the McCree was not exactly what he wanted.
Oh, nice deflect.
Okay. Scary stuff.
Just the temporary switch to the Junkrat. Taejun wants to 1v1. He's famous for doing so on stream. We'll see if he can get the kills here in the Widow versus Widow.
A tough one. Minute to go.
Oh!
See you later, Miro.
Closer!
That's a sweet boom. And Hurek's going to grab one onto Huayu as well. There's no reflection. Taejun just going to try and take him down and does so. But Zumba, he's going to launch his way out. And Lunatic-Hai, they're just not here on this point. No one has respawned and made it back to the point in time. We are going to be going to one more. And I thought this was over. After that massive time bank that Lunatic-Hai had set up for themselves, I thought GC Busan were going to have a too tough a time. Feels like that is not the case here, and they pivoted so nicely.
Honestly, that closer pick might have been the one that cost Lunatic-Hai the defense there. He killed Miro, who had Earth Shatter, who was trying to position for an Earth Shatter angle, and Closer was very good at countering that play. Very well done. Now, Lunatic-Hai still has massive advantages, right? But
yeah, time bank's certainly in their favor, but not exactly by that much.
I mean, can I be totally honest?
Well, actually, yeah, they do. Never mind.
I feel like this is, just from what we've seen Friday and today, one of the best round of 8s, and it's not even halfway over yet, but one of the best round of 8s in Apex history we were watching right now.
Yeah, there hasn't been that massive stomp, apart from maybe Combox, Kongdu Panthera.
We've had some great semis. Like pretty much every semis is amazing in Apex, but like these teams that we didn't know how well they were going to do, both Busan and the Foxes today, we thought it might have been potentially
even LW Red, right? Because you know they're also making a debut, despite the fact that we've always known them as a very good team.
But like, this is just, I mean, this is phenomenal play. Are they massively behind? Yes. Will they high chance of being full held here? Yes. But the play we're seeing is definitely very competitive out of Busan. We'll be starting on the Zarya. They want to run their own phalanx, more phalanxy than what Lunatic-Hai did, because Hurek's on the McCree here.
Yeah, but they're going to move in so quickly and grab this position. It is theoretically low ground, but they got there so fast. Because this composition moves slowly, getting into position like that so quickly is certainly worthwhile. Who Are You going to get healed back up? And Lunatic-Hai, they're the ones that have utilized the other style, the sort of counter dive defensive strategy that we saw the NC Foxes put to such great use, instead of the phalanx that did actually work very well at this particular stage of the point, as Hurek's going to take down Taejun.
They need to get on this point, but I think they do likely have this cap. Transcendence was built so quickly for Jaehong. Maybe this is what allows them to hold. Profit's on it, though. We got the first tick.
Yeah, and Huyu's going to get rid of Gesture as well. So with a composition like this one, getting rid of almost any point of it is certainly worthwhile. As we are in overtime once again. Lunatic-Hai losing their health bars. There it is. GC Busan should be able to grab this. They are going to have to spend a lot of time on the payload. They've kept this one alive.
Here's where it gets real scary. They not only did Lunatic-Hai lose control of this point. They used every ult they built for it. The ults for Busan take much longer to build. The Graviton Surge, the Earth Shatter, these are ults that take a very long time to build. It's a very slow style push. The fact they were able to take this and now have ult advantages going into the Streets phase is very, very worrisome for Lunatic-Hai. This should have been a very simple hold, especially with the ults they used there. They built them so much faster. The Dragon Blade, we got the Transcendence, and even still, man, Busan marches down, so got to be a little bit of feeling of fear now if you're a Lunatic-Hai fan, as the more this goes, the worse the situation gets.
And we're very close to an Earth Shatter as well, which will buy them even more time. Then immediately afterwards, there will be a Graviton Surge. Sound barriers on both sides are going to be thrown in, and Hurek once again just says goodbye to Taejun. He's had his number almost this entire time. We are going to be building this microwave oven up too, and GC Busan, they're going from good to better, to be honest. Look at that. 96% feels so good.
41.83 meters feels so good too, man. They are just rolling with this. It is a rock down at the side of the most slanty hill you have ever seen. I mean,
You call that a wall?
yeah, sure, it's a rock rolling down a wall, man, at this point. Nothing's stopping this train. They hold on to those ultimates. And the ults they didn't have, the nano boost, the sound barrier, they're getting much closer, as Wuyal is just tearing it up right now. He's looking for the high ground Graviton.
And also just the calculation as well out of GC Busan, not investing the Earth Shatter, not investing the Graviton Surge. Now they have that here at this difficult moment. They are looking to try and get to this final position.
But Earth Shatter's a whiff. That's a problem, but Prophet still gets a pick here. So much energy now on the side of Wuyal.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb does come in. Booyah, oh, massive damage. And this should be this. They're going to get to point B, lock that one down as well. That's the team wipe for GC Busan.
Who are you?
And point B claim.
Shut down hard. Zuma was not able to eat that Graviton, obviously. Goryu's going to switch now to the Junkrat, but Gesture, even though his Earth Shatter was a whiff, it gave positional advantage to Busan. He's halfway back to that Earth Shatter now because he did so much damage with those swings. So they have ult advantage again still as they march down to look for, with only 1 minute and 1 second, nearly potentially a full completion.
Yep, Hurek actually looking for the Widowmaker play here at the same time.
Shattered.
So, yeah, Earth Shatter comes in, but
Blocked.
really nice shield. Going to block that one out by Miro. So, seems like as far as Reinhardt is concerned, he has been putting the hours in. Hurek just looking for these bullets, though, not necessarily finding the ones that they want. The rest of his team doing a great job. This double snipe composition. Hagopyeon, actually the one that's the most successful now.
Junkrat.
Oh, there it is. He can't move out of the way. Taejun just no options. They're looking for a full completion off 1 minute. This entire Streets phase and the Foundry in overtime. Oh, it's ticking, it's ticking. They cannot move away from this point. But Gesture, he's going to make his way back in. Wuyao, lots of damage available. They've set themselves up. But who are you? On the Tracer to save the day is going to lock it in. But damn, that is an incredibly impressive push.
And when all is said and done and the hold completes, the only people clapping are the Busan fans, because this was more than anyone could have ever expected, more than anyone would have ever predicted. And they were just so damn efficient with the ult usage there. And it felt like Lunatic-Hai was desperately swapping over and over again. Miro between the Winston and the Reinhardt, the Zarya that came in later. The fail to eat on that Graviton Surge was painful. And this team tried to run the Junkrat there on the defense. Wasn't helpful against the Widowmaker we saw come out. Then we saw shut down completely was the McCree again by that Widow. And Hureg is making a name for himself tonight.
Yeah.
And Lunatic-Hai,
this is what GC Busan was telling us about as well, the fact that they are so incredibly happy with their DPS line, and it has been a question mark for Lunatic-Hai because it's been switched out so often. It's like Taejun and Who Are You now, but it was, you know, Who Are You and Giddo last, Who Are You and Escort? Who Are You and Giddo last time, I believe. But they've almost tried every single combination of DPS or flex. No matter what.
It feels like an ends to the means is, okay, let's try everything so that at the end we know exactly what works best. It was risky in the round of 16, but it worked out. And I don't even think Taejun's died so many times, but this is not his poor performance we saw against MVP Space. This is a good performance out of Hurek, shutting down his Tracer repeatedly. They are going to run the full Phalanx here. This is his Phalanx as against. It's the McCree Junkrat version. It's the original from the Seoul team, or rather the Korea team.
Well, Hurek's going to stick with the McCree, but otherwise it is going to be a similar story to what Lunatic-Hai were trying to run. Prophet taken down immediately. His gesture's going to be thrown away as well, and it feels like Lunatic-Hai very quick as far as this cap is going to be concerned.
Very quick cap, and usually when you're thinking about overtime captures, your goal is, okay, we're going to get the capture, we have a small time bank, let's think about the bonus time we can get there when you're the first attacker. But because Busan essentially got completion, Lunatic-Hai has got to be really happy with this, but they're not that happy yet, because this is basically them just resetting the entire map.
Well, now Gesture's actually going to be able to pick one up, and the thing that's really scary about this one, Wolf, is that we've got 2.5 minutes, and we know that GC Busan were pushing that payload in overtime for about 2.5 minutes. So having a bigger time bank right now basically means nothing because the payload's not going to move any faster. You're going to be in overtime no matter what by the end.
Certainly. So at least Lunatic-Hai can rest easy. They have an ult advantage now. They got that pick. They're moving through the stream phase pretty quickly, and they're more flexible. They can actually do a lot more with their comp because they don't have to stay on the point non-stop. However, their comp is designed to stay on the point all the time. It's the Phalanx comp. It's very difficult to dive against this, and in these choke points, it's very difficult for hit scan to actually damage it. This comp basically has no real counters except good positional plays and picks.
Hugapune comes in. That's going to be the Deadeye from Taejun as well, layered on top. Prophet. Yeah, picks one up with the pulse bomb there as well. So nicely done. GC Busan getting a few back, and it's now just the frontline and Toby here for Lunatic-Hai. GC Busan still suffering some casualties as well, though. So this is going to continue pushing forward. 1 minute now on the clock, and feels like GC Busan are feeling pretty casual because this is the position that you want to get to. You want to get to a point where the respawns are the big problem.
Yeah, and you want to save your ults for that best moment in overtime. So they're trying to slow this down, but they want to save the basically the grand finale here till the end. They've got that Deadeye. Let's see how long they hold. And looks like Will be DMAXed here very likely, just barely survive. Zuma, high energy. Deadeye's coming out.
Now Toby's going to grab Gesture as well. This could actually be huge.
Deadeye totally useless.
Yeah, not going to work.
This is actually pretty disappointing for Busan. They actually went really far forward here to try to commit their ultimate, trying to get a longer hold, but they just got totally stomped, and they used the Deadeye.
Well, thankfully, Closer isn't going to throw down any desperation sound barriers. Same can be said for the Transcendence.
Looks like Kureg wants to switch, so... Nope, actually, maybe just fell off there. Not entirely sure. Okay, no, he is going to switch to this Widowmaker that he did so well on attack with.
Well, it just feels like GC Busan have been waiting for their favorite moment to try and lock this one down. And Prophet's going to start things off by getting the Pulse Bomb onto Lee Taejun. Closer's dead, but he's going to respawn very, very soon. Sound Barrier comes in. We've got a Nano Boost onto Zumba. Gravitational Field comes in as well, but it feels like GC Busan still holding themselves up. Oh, we got Fish in a Barrel for Hureg as well, who just wants to land these shots.
That might just be it,
yeah,
man.
They've knocked them off, and that is going to be that. GC Busan
2-0
with that killer push in overtime for the entire time as well. From go to woe on King's Row. Oh, God, that was a horrendous rhyme. Still definitely means what I wanted it to mean, though, and that's going to be match point now, and we need another miracle reverse sweep for Lunatic-Hai. Oh wait, is it a miracle or is it just what they're built for? I still wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
I'm watching Lunatic-Hai fans walk out of the studio right now. I'm watching Busan really impressing. That Transcendence saved them so hard. Nobody died in the Graviton Surge. And because Hagopun had that switch to the Widowmaker unbeknownst to Lunatic-Hai, when they tried to convert that failed Graviton once the Transcendence wore off, they all came into his sights. He had the flanking position. Like you said, it was fish in a barrel. And what incredible play.
And he didn't even necessarily get a lot of those kills, to be honest. It's just that he started raining down terror. I think he pinged one person off. And then if you see a Widowmaker up there, you're like, oh God, we are all exposed. And the cleanup was done by everybody else in the disarray that was resulting. Well, it was just honestly beautiful strategic play coming out of GC Busan.
This is not the results anybody expected tonight going into this one. The reverse sweep is certainly possible. We've seen it before from this team.
Yeah. but they're looking more dejected than you necessarily see Lunatic-Hai looking. Like, often you don't see downcast faces, often you don't see a whole lot, but there is a certain other man walking into the booth here, Wolf.
All
You
right.
guys can see him on your screen right now. Feel like Eska might be the option. Let's throw it to a short break, and when we come back, we'll see whether Eska can save Lunatic-Hai.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4. It's the round of 8, and we are well and truly at the end of meeting all of our teams that are in said round of 8. And now, Lunatic-Hai staring down the barrel once again of a 3-0 loss.
That's right, and it is Eska subbed in to come to the rescue. His DPS partner in crime, Taejun, certainly underperforming tonight. I feel like it's not necessarily underperforming straight up, but it's just that Hureg has his number. He's been killed by Hureg so many times, and as a Tracer player, you shouldn't be dying to McCree as much as he is. As he's coming to the rescue, this leads me to believe also that we will see a little bit more Soldier play coming in this, because yes, we've seen Taejun play Soldier, but it's not his most famous, right? It's not what he's known for. His Tracer is the things that he's known for. Sure, his Widowmaker on stream and stuff, but we're heading into Assault now, and this map is so important, and I feel like if you're bringing Eska in here, I want to say we're going to Volskaya. That's where I'm leaning towards, because he can also play great Sombra now that he's in the booth as well. So it feels like a Volskaya pick here, but whatever the pick, man, this is not what the coach expected. This is not what the fans expected.
And I also just feel like the momentum that has been built by GC Busan has been fantastic, not to mention their adaptation. You go back to King's Row, where we thought Lunatic-Hai had crushed them. That first push was so huge. They had a massive time bank, and GC Busan just completely rearranged their playstyle. They played that Phalanx composition the same way that Lunatic-Hai did. Made it look like they were the team that was super comfortable in that area. We know that, you know, Zumba, always an incredible Zarya player. Miro struggled on the Reinhardt at times, but he had some brilliant moments. It's not necessarily Lunatic-Hai underperforming. It's the fact that GC Busan had some strategically stunning moments throughout that map.
Oh, absolutely. And their counter to the Miro play on Winston was really well done. Their handling of the Phalanx comp, impressive as well. And, you know, Miro, they're doing a lot of things right. They've got Taejun in the booth. They got Miro playing Reinhardt. They're trying to run the Phalanx that, sure, they did really well on the Seoul team, or sorry, the World Cup team, but let's find out where we're headed here. It is going to be the Volskaya, so
does make a lot of sense.
When you see the Eska sub, this just makes sense. It works well for his attack Sombra. It works well for his defense Soldier. And when you go hit scan to hit scan with Eska, I don't know if Hureg is going to be finding as much success in that matchup. If he wants to Soldier versus Soldier or McCree versus Soldier, that is, I think, a risky proposition against this range DPS. So I think this is a good sub. I think it's a good map for the sub now. And I wonder if we'll see the Doomfist come back in now, if it is going to be a lot of Soldier.
That's a good point, yeah. There's a lot of questions to be answered, but the thing that I'm terrified about, if you're hoping for the GC Busan upset, it's all the smiles that erupted in that booth as soon as Eska sat down. You saw how more comfortable Lunatic-Hai are, and we'll see how dangerous that is going to be for GC Busan as we head to Volskaya Industries. Right, I think that's we've moved up from 8. I think that's like 15.
Yeah.
And, dominated by Lunatic-Hai audience.
I mean, as it always is, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are two sides of the audience, obviously, in terms of even ticket sales, but if you're a Lunatic-Hai fan, you bought the GC Busan ticket because you didn't get in the first 30 milliseconds of sales, you would get the Lunatic-Hai one, so the safer play when you're at Impression F5 to pick the Busan ticket.
How are you feeling about this GC Busan defensive composition with Profits sitting on the Ana? So they're going with 2-2-2, but Hagopyeon has been their Sombra player, but they don't want to risk triple DPS.
I think it's risky to put Hureg on the Tracer specifically. I'd actually rather have Hureg on the Ana, given his hit scan track record that we've seen so far today on the McCree, the Soldier.
Well, I mean, Trace is still a hit scan, but
sure,
yeah,
but I
you're
mean,
right.
just
it's
like long range, I should say, long range.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not going to be a bad tracer, I'm not saying, but
why do you have without him playing
Well, let's
Diana. Let's
not judge it. Let's
No.
watch it unfold. But Eska is going to be on the McCree here, and it's going to be attacking essentially a different style. Who are you on the Tracer? No Genji for this dive. Just going to be hit scan versus hit scan, that matchup we were talking about.
Yep, who are you once again playing the Tracer? Seen do some decent work, but now Lunatic-Hai going to make their way on. The house is owned by GC Busan though, and it certainly is a point that a lot of teams do favor. So you takes down Gesture. That is actually huge to start this off, and the barrier is there from Miro to help them out. They've already got that first tick. We're moving to the second very, very quickly, and with this man advantage and now lacking the Diva mech, that is a disaster. Lunatic-Hai just wiping through.
I think the answer to the question you asked earlier is this was not a good composition, especially against Eska back on the hit scan. Even if they had a soldier up there, it would have been difficult, but this comp I don't think even does well against dive. They just don't have enough damage. Tracer alone as DPS isn't enough, and Sombra, yeah, she's a DPS quote-unquote, you know, on her hero description, but she doesn't have the damage output of a soldier, of a Genji, so...
Yeah, it's like a poor man's triple support composition or something like that.
Yeah, and now you've just simply given Lunatic-Hai an incredible time bank, and they approached really well. Their coordination was good. Who are you making a name for yourself already here on the Tracer? But now they've got an ult advantage as well. They don't even have an EMP. That's insane. So
They do have a nano boost though. See where that one's gone. Gesture is going to pick that one up, but nothing really happens. So they wait it out. Lunatic-Hai holding on to 5 ultimates. Transcendence is going to start things off as Eska with the Deadeye is going to take down Hagapyeon. We've got 6 minutes for Lunatic-Hai to get work done, and it looks like they won't need any of that time. Flashbang comes in. Stunning play from Eska. Feels like he's been out the back, keeping himself warm, Wolf. Ready to save the day.
EMP is still available, but they don't have anything else. Prophet switching over to the Genji. Here comes a translocation for the EMP, but sound barrier to answer. Perfect positioning from Toby outside of the range.
Yep.
So predictable.
Zumba's going to be able to take down Hagapyeon as well, and it's only been Lunatic-Hai kills. They do manage to make it back onto the point to GC Busan, and they've got a sound barrier now to help keep them there. But Lunatic-Hai, I mean, they can back right off because there's no ultimates coming out of GC Busan for the next little while, apart from maybe a pulse bomb. And Lunatic-Hai, despite everything, are just in so much control on the enemy point.
Hagapyeon just trying to stay here cloaked on the left side, does get revealed, and will have to translocate away. I mean, they're at 94% here. Does demech Zumba, but I think that's it, yep.
That's a disaster for GC Busan, who had all that momentum moving towards Volskaya.
Shattered in an instant, and I feel like it comes from... Sure, we can give Eska big praises, and I know a lot of people are probably saying Taejun was the problem, but realistically, this was a total departure from what we saw out of this team on King's Row, and it's, sure, totally different map, totally different styles, right? But they didn't play to the map. They didn't play a soldier. They didn't have counter dive. They had Sombra, but with the basically solo DPS Tracer, it was going to be difficult to build enough time for an EMP even on that first push. And now Lunatic-Hai has the 5-minute time bank. And what I am happy about, what puts a smile on my face though, is the potential Hureg Doomfist, because we knew that this map was likely chosen by Lunatic-Hai because they wanted to play Eska on the soldier on the high ground. Hureg is so good at diving that, so good at taking that high ground away from the soldier players. We've seen it on King's Row specifically, we've seen it here.
And as far as compositions that GC Busan have been running as well, this is their highest win rate composition.
Yes.
Like 70%, something like that. Pretty
Absolutely.
ludicrous.
You're absolutely right, and it's also the one they played the most. It's the one they're most well-versed on. And it looks like Hureg might be the first person to actually be brave enough to pull the Doomfist out today. The doors haven't opened yet, but that's what it looks like so far.
Well, GC Busan, if they do lock in this composition, I feel like it's a great idea, because not only does it work on this particular map, but also going back to comfort is so good.
Now, if the positioning is good for Eska, if Toby is in position to nuke Hureg several times, the composition that Lunatic-Hai is running could be considered a counter if it's used correctly, because you outrange the Doomfist, right? So the approaches have to be really good. They have to be really calculated. Prophet needs to be firing at whoever Hureg is trying to dive on to make this happen. As Eska is certainly very well versed at dealing with these Doomfist dives on the soldier. He's seen it a million times before.
Because See, Uyol actually already taking about half of his health bar in damage, and Zumba takes down Gesture to start this one off. That's the second time the Gesture has just fallen immediately. And Lunatic-Hai, when they did this, they were basically already capping point A. We're going to have to give it another go on the side of GC Busan this time.
As you can see, Eska's job is to track Hureg here, find out where he is, make it so he can't close the gap. If the gap gets closed, though, from good protection here from Uyol, he can go ahead and rocket punch his way up to the high ground. Looks like he's with him right now, but here comes the dive.
Yeah.
Looks like he's already missed a reposition.
He's trying to shoot him off the edge. Hureg, yeah, just firing from range, but he has to be real careful. Gets himself up with the seismic slam back into the healing field.
All right, Gesture looking to, with his Discord, try to take out Winston here. Miro does jump away. Close call. Hureg's taken out. That's the crux of their comp. It looks like that's going to be a hold here.
Yeah.
Profit's down to no more
He's
DPS.
going to lose his mech, and Miro is in a lot of trouble, so he's going to get taken down. So frontline removed. That's important, but Uyol's got to get back to his team because Lunatic-Hai doesn't seem like they need tanks all that much. Eska getting hunted. We do have at least the Transcendence now to try and get them back in.
Good sound barrier.
Really good timing there as well. You're exactly right. Hagapyeon takes down Toby.
Sound barrier
They need to take this point though, like right now, if they want any way back into this.
Even though the sound barrier was good, it only bought time for them to survive, but they weren't able to accomplish anything with it, unfortunately. So they are going to get control of it for a moment here. They have the attack visor. Who are you? Very low. If he gets taken out, this could be an opportunity. Miro also is discorded currently.
Yeah, takes down Hagapyeon though. He's just got too much health, even if the Discord is there. Attack visor from Profit doing so much work. Sound barrier invested from Lunatic-Hai, but still eaten through, and that positioning from the Soldier was unbelievable. Self-destruct is going to come in just to buy space, just to give them those extra ticks, and it looks like Lunatic-Hai will give up point A, but there's a much better attack on their side.
Certainly so. Not the time bank that they had at all, but it is going to be the cap. They're looking to try to get some more staggered respawns here to try to potentially get the double capture. I mean, Profit just showed us the strength of high ground, right? Great protection here by Zumba, by the way. He does end up dying, but he saved Eska's life while doing so. Eska's got that attack visor.
This stagger, though, is absolutely fantastic. You talk about snowball caps on Volskaya a lot, and this is one of those opportunities now as Lunatic-Hai are bleeding members.
This wouldn't be possible without that protection there from Zumbas, but it's still not going to be enough. He gets taken out.
And completely nullifies the attack visor at the same time. It's genius from GC Busan once again. I mean, it's scary to say that they'd be able to do anything here, to be perfectly honest. I feel like stabilization is still certainly a capability from Lunatic-Hai, but this is what we came to expect from
Another
GC
visor.
Busan. I
don't know, man. This looks like a very potential capture here. I mean, they're almost matching the time bank of Lunatic-Hai if they grab this here.
Yeah.
The EMP wasn't very good. Toby finds himself way far away. That's going to be a capture, it looks like. Zumba buying time.
Yeah, Zumba on the Diva Mech, but the pilot gets off, and they're just dying one after the other. Gesture's going to jump himself in there, and there were a couple of kills that came down last time. We're going to lose the Diva Mech, but that's it. And GC Busan, despite, once again, the first round of attack for Lunatic-Hai, amazing. And you're like, all right, there they are. They're back. It's going to be fantastic. It's not quite as good. But GC Busan stay in it and stay in it with a fighting chance in a way on Volskaya that we just don't often see.
No, I mean, the staggered spawns you were talking about, very important. Zumba made a tough choice. He protected Eska there, so that Eska could keep his attack visor, because they knew the double cap was a very high possibility. And I think it was the right choice in the end, but even after Zumba was dead, Eska couldn't do much with his attack visor, was just burst down there. And now I want to know, okay, it's going to be attack Busan first, of course, but I do want to know what they try to do when Lunatic-Hai has their shot at attack, because I feel like this also kind of soft confirms our theory that the comp for Busan was weak, and that's why that Lunatic-Hai had such a great time on point A.
But Lunatic-Hai running the same comp, so they have made sort of like triple supports, more utility-based compositions work more in the past, and I feel like this must be just a scrim result type thing.
Yeah. We have not seen this yet really in Apex on defense all too often, especially not on this patch, not really at all on Volskaya, so it's a little bit odd for us, but I think it is one of those things, again, like you say, that all the teams are running in scrims. Hureg will run the Soldier here on attack, and it is going to be that same problem. Let's see if Lunatic-Hai faces the same problems that Busan did. It was McCree and not Soldier for Eska is the only difference here on the attack.
Well, Hagepyeon needs to be super careful as Eska going to translocate back, but doesn't actually get the kill, most importantly.
Clutched by Woohyal there, the protection, so well placed.
Yeah.
Okay, they control the high ground now.
But Gesture once again diving in a little bit too early here for GC Busan. He's going to get healed back up decently well as Woohyal is going to get, Hurek, sorry, going to get slept. That transition was not exactly the most optimal, but Hagepyeon's going to take down Ryu Jahong. And yeah, Toby's taken out as well, and that is all of the support. Okay.
EMP here, but with what follow-up damage? Who are you still alive? But
exactly,
EMP
enough. Doesn't deny bullets, Wolf.
No, it does not. Oh man,
It's
such
a
great
bloodbath.
protection.
It is definitely a bloodbath, and there are kills going both ways, but GC Busan, the reinforcements are going to be arriving much more quickly, and Prophet, I feel like he's back to being on a tear like he was, and I feel like this guy is one of those players that plays a lot on emotion, right? And after that last push through, where finally everything was running well, and there's a hiccup, right? You have Eska back in the roster, you don't know necessarily what is going to happen, and then you get a push like that where you snowball in Volskaya, you feel so much better.
He also goes and checks to make sure Lunatic-Hai is not going to go for a last-minute contest. That's why he went up on that platform, looked for an opening pick, didn't get successful on that one. Let's see what they switch to here. Eska's still sticking with this Sombra for the time being, maybe for another EMP before we do see a swap to potentially that McCree or Soldier. But already the first capture is a good thing for Busan. Prophet's just waiting for that pick.
Wants to find it, but of course GC Busan losing a couple means that Lunatic-Hai able to re-establish control, so no more snowballs.
Who are you sneaks over here, does see this rotation. So scouts it out completely.
Yeah, not able to get on top of the squishies though, as
Prophet.
there's the delivery. Ryu Jahong didn't really want the pulse bomb, but couldn't get rid of it because that one was stuck to him, and Prophet starts this one off well. Eska, can he find the EMP to actually cause it? No, he can't. Urek comes in with the Doomfist, just knocks his lights out, and that is going to be more kills coming down now. Lunatic-Hai loses half their team, and it only continues now. Miro, Primal Rage is in, but if you can just focus him, I feel like it could be an opportunity. Does still have the nano boost on him, but Gesture takes down Jahong. Eska, can he get the work done? I'm not sure. As Closer comes down.
Oh, went right through the shield there. So they do get the pick at least with that one, but I don't know if it's going to matter here as Hurek is on a tear.
Yeah, he's demonstrating the fact that these hotfixes may not necessarily have been enough to take the Doomfist out of the meta like today may have indicated.
Okay, still some respawns coming through here for Lunatic-Hai. They're just trying to burn down that
Look at
bank.
how close we are. This is very, very close to the end for Lunatic-Hai on this particular map. It's only 1 minute and 40 on that timer, and Lunatic-Hai have a larger amount of time to work with when they have a shot at this tiebreak match.
Okay, this might just be it. There's the translocate.
Oh God, we are so, so close, and there it is. GC Busan get the double cap in round 2. And I feel like it is certainly a possibility for Lunatic-Hai to do exactly the same thing. But man, that was impressive.
The longer fight goes to the team with more DPS in this case because they both have the same.
Is so relaxed as well, just chilling, man. It's totally fine.
They both have the same healers, essentially. Sure, there's the added element of the Sombra health packs, which were only taken at the last moment there, actually, by Eska. But it feels like this comp that both teams ran has some holes in it, and they end up losing the first point. The second cap, though, that was just flexing from Busan. Hurek swapped immediately onto the Doomfist. Lunatic-Hai wasn't ready. They kept Sombra in the roster instead of switching. I think that was another problem, I believe, for Lunatic-Hai because just didn't have enough ways to deal with that Doomfist. And Jahong was picked. Jahong's a great way to deal with Doomfist. His sleep darts are incredible. His spider grenades are great, but Prophet got consistent picks, especially that first one was the one that made everyone's jaws drop there.
Yep, that special delivery pulse bomb
look at
basically won them that game.
And look at this, not running the same comp that they failed to defend with last time that we also saw Lunatic-Hai fail to defend with. They're going to go back to what was normal. This is what we thought we would see from both these teams with the Soldier high ground defense. Eska's running the same comp attack, but he's not going to find that Sombra on the other side.
Yeah, but does have the McCree, so can at least challenge Hurek on this high ground. They are going to spot him out, understand that they are not facing the same composition once again. Run it up left strategy. It's one that X6 sort of made a bit famous on Temple of Anubis, but they're not actually going to opt into it just here. But Lunatic-Hai just looking for the weak point, looking for their way to break in. Zureg repositions over to the other side and sprints back, just wanting to make sure that he's operating exactly the right sight lines to deny Lunatic-Hai safe passage towards this point.
Hey, Eska getting into a good position, but still doesn't have that high ground. That is the one that you want as the hit scan player. That's why Hureg is just having such a great time here. They don't have tools to get up there right now. Miro might be able to open something up, but with the Zenyatta here, it's so difficult. He's going to try for it, as you can see here, but again, he's just forced back. They do get the pick on the Prophet, though.
Yeah, the Biotic Field is actually just fantastic as GC Busan are going to answer back.
Oh my god, and he's going to live, and they're, again, shooting fish in a barrel here. Miro's down.
Yeah, Bionic Field is just so incredibly good. Jaehong does have to use the Transcendence to try and keep himself alive, but I feel like this is just trying to delay rather than anything else.
That's pretty rough that he used that. In fact, maybe trying to keep Toby alive to use a sound barrier.
Oh god, that was so close to another staggered kill here for Hureg.
Oh, Eska misses that shot there as well. Hureg on the high ground, and the Zenyatta there, because of this accuracy you see from Hagopun tonight, like, he hits the headshots onto Miro, forces him to leave. They have the Discord orb there, and the bodyguard we are seeing basically from this Zenyatta player is what made those two dive attempts from Miro totally unsuccessful, and even though they got a pick on the ground, Hureg was the carry, and I think the soldier play here is much more successful than both teams tried to use that Sombra for on defense.
I just feel like it's really interesting thinking about like Lunatic-Hai, that when they're on the attack, when they're moving forward, this is a team that is so incredibly deadly if they get any momentum, but just feels like GC Busan have not given them any at all. Double pulse bomb for Who Are You though, and this could start that off. They're going to invest everything. They've got sound barrier that comes in. Jaehong has fallen down, but GC Busan way more casualties.
Yeah,
not any ticks just yet, though.
Yeah, Promise is trying to harass, get that backline pick on the Eska, fails to get it, so close.
Yeah, extraordinarily close. Almost like there were too many targets there, and he hit it in between.
Yeah. Well, Hagopun is going to switch to the Sombra. They are going to give this one up. They're going to switch to a Mei defense comp, actually, it looks like, because all they really want to do is get the full hold here. And because Lunatic-Hai doesn't have that much time, this is actually very possible, so they're just they're picking a delay comp. EMPs, so Sombra can delay so well. They have Mei for the ice blocks, the ice walls. Like, this is a straight-up delay comp, so they can get that. They want to force this into an overtime capture for Lunatic-Hai, and I think this is a smart move. They're going to use the sound barrier here already.
Yeah, GC Busan really adamant on not letting this first push work from Lunatic-Hai, as Zumba, he's going to beg to differ as Hureg's going to fall down. It's a disaster for GC Busan as Lunatic-Hai pushing through. They're getting picks everywhere. No one's dying. They've still got 4 ultimates.
Yeah, they needed to buy a lot more time than this. You have to say Prophet's going to buy some more of it here. They have EMP, but no Blizzard just yet. Here comes the EMP. The wall is well used.
But it's a double kill with the Tac Visor, and Lunatic-Hai just snapped them all up and managed to lock down theirs as well. So we're going again, Wolf. There is still more Volskaya action to come.
Lunatic-Hai has, in recent times, their Winston Lab report on Assault is that they are 8-5-2. They have 5 recent ties on Assault, and it feels like that may be where we're going with this. The time bank's getting very small here as we head into our second extra round, but we have seen both of these teams have incredible captures, so anything could happen. But I want to see on the defense, I want to see a more standard comp. Like this one, I like it. You got Who Are You on the Genji. Don't want to see the Sombra because it just simply was not working. And I, of course, mean with the Sombra with only Tracer as quote-unquote DPS. I want to see some sort of either dive or soldier play. And so far, that's what we're seeing.
Well, Lunatic-Hai also going to be changing things up as Who Are You's Genji is going to be coming out.
Yeah, so soldierless, but not going to be only Eska on Sombra there with flexing Who Are You on Tracer only for the kind of damage output. I don't think that was very successful. It certainly was not for either team.
Feels like Lunatic-Hai is sticking to what they're good at, though. I mean, this is a team that's known to be the best dive team in the world. Certainly were the ones to really stake their claim to fame once they mastered the style, and now with the Genji and the Tracer, like, everyone's diving right here.
Oh, Jaeyoung gets the opening shots too. The objective for Busan is to get the high ground and then control it with Hureg. That's the plan. But Lunatic-Hai want to shut that down in its tracks. That's their plan. That's why they have the dive to ruin that.
Busan already moving on to the point here very, very quickly, and Lunatic-Hai were a little bit mixed up, and Hureg now once again just standing well back, just targeting everyone. Prophet as well.
First push, first cap, man.
What is this? I mean, Lunatic-Hai was so split. It was a shambles.
Miro was in the wrong position. He was discorded. It reminds me of Oasis when we started this series off with the picks we were seeing from Hureg against the Winston when he was alone there. Dove down onto the ground because they didn't take the high ground approach Lunatic-Hai expected them to take to put Hureg on the high ground. And then I think that once Miro was picked, it was all over. Jaeyoung's going to switch to the Sombra. Still a small amount of time, but scary here. Even any percentage they gain is terrifying for Lunatic-Hai right now.
Well, Prophet's going to take down Eska's Tracer here, and this could start things off for a second cap. We've only got 40 seconds to go as Hureg does have attack visor available. Can't quite find targets, but Toby pokes his head out at the wrong time. It's a bit of a disaster as now GC Busan, massive follow-up kills. Transcendence in there as well. They're going to get 2 ticks. This is massive because with time banks this small, you get anywhere near a cap and you're feeling fantastic, and they may actually be able to do it.
It might even be without overtime as well. There's a pulse bomb on the Zumba. 15 seconds to go here. Sound barrier. Who are used? Dragon Blade will do nothing.
Just insane. They're trying to skip around. They're trying to get it to at least overtime. We got 5 seconds to go. Now everyone jumps through. They are oh my goodness, so close. There it is. Overtime comes in, but the cap still happens, and GC Busan and move up to 6.
Very important they got the overtime, though. That was all they could have hoped for. After that was a disastrous defense there, and Prophet is so happy. And I think you said it best earlier when you said Prophet is such a momentum-based player. He and Huel are so happy here. It's night and day, booth to booth. And sure, maybe there were smiles on the faces of the Lunatic-Hai players when Eska sat down, and maybe there were smiles when their first push dominated. They ended with a 5-10 time bank, but this is not that time anymore. And Miro is struggling. Miro is getting discorded. He's getting picked off.
And he's Busan, often the one that's unflappable, you know?
Yeah, and Busan they dealt with him so well when they ran this comp just last time on their first extra round. Sorry, on their first defense, and Miro struggled to get the picks on the high ground, right? Hureg was up there. Yeah. He had Hagupun right next to him. He had the Biotic Field. He had the Orb of Harmony. And he was just able to, with the Discord Orbs, kill Miro or force him down. And I worry that if Lunatic-Hai tries to run this again, I feel like we might see some deja vu here. We're certainly seeing deja vu in terms of composition. And it feels like, to be honest, it feels like this series is already over.
It's really scary. Lunatic-Hai, like, going to the composition that GC Busan beat them with as well.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's the scary part, is it feels like Lunatic-Hai are conceding as far as who has the best ideas in this series. And yes, like, everyone's been running this, but in this series alone, that plays on your mind.
Okay, Eska's going to go up here to the high ground. This is already great for Lunatic-Hai. They predicted this, but he survives this damage. Hureg's taking a different position, so it's actually going to be kind of a side shot here. Look at the positioning, though, of GC Busan trying to shut them down.
Yeah, the tanks just jump all the way forward. Wuyo is
Miro's
absolutely
dead. He got
fine.
booped.
He boops him off the edge. Didn't even have the jump available to try and get himself up, and Prophet is going to win once again this Tracer battle. This could be it. This could be the tilting of Lunatic-Hai.
I haven't seen a team fall off this hard at this level since Runaway tilted on Eichenwald in the Season 2 finals. We are not seeing coordination out of this team right now. We are seeing domination out of Busan. It is their night tonight. We said that them waiting one game would have made them walk out of the booth as happy as could be. And now they are just 1 minute potentially away from winning this series 3-0. The full sweep. Eska can't get into position. It feels like Lunatic-Hai is just one step behind every step of the way here. They've moved Hureg over to the left side now, so they're going to try to take a right side approach. But already, the dive can come in to shut them down. It happened last time.
40 seconds to go. Toby very close to a sound barrier. Does have it. Pulse Bomb gonna fly forward, but finds no joy. And Hureg has the attack visor, so here it is. This is what they're going to utilize to try and get this one going. Toby hunting for traces as well, but I feel like that just flat out didn't work. Eska has his tack visor available.
And what's he
Can't
shooting?
quite find targets, exactly.
Oh man, Transcendence so well answered here. Hurek gets the kill on the Zuma's mech. Sound Barrier better timed here for closer.
Oh, and Jaehong, he had the Transcendence, but no one was in range, and now he's going to get obliterated.
That's it.
We've got 8 seconds to go. GC Busan are going to get the 3-0. First, it's a Freak of Freaks. Now, it's looking like Lunatic-Hai. We do have overtime. It could be a potential thing here, and they'll have an extra minute to
Zumba
take the next point. but
DMAC'd already. That's
This
them
is
pushed
so
off.
hard.
Who are you trying to do what he can with his pulse bomb? No success. And that is going to be the hold here. It looks like Toby's shoved off. Jaeyoung's sitting on it.
It's pure desperation. The overtime is going to tick down. In he goes once again just to get the reset, but
There you
that's
have it.
that, and GC Busan 3-0 Lunatic-Hai.
No one could have predicted this. This is insane, and this is, I feel like, one of the biggest stories of what momentum means in a series. The coach can't believe it either. It's all high fives. And it's one of those moments where you can feel the tension mounted. That's a seesaw effect as Lunatic-Hai starts to struggle. They bring in Eska. It looks like a good start on Volskaya, but you see Prophet in the booth, fist bumping his teammates, raising his fist. And Hureg on the Soldier tonight was better than Eska could have dreamed to be. And in this moment where they bring Eska in, he was supposed to be the god tier player. He was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be the savior,
He
right?
was
He was
supposed to
supposed to
be
come
savior.
in and pick everyone up, and everything was going to be fine. It certainly was not fine for Lunatic-Hai.
I think that tonight we definitely have to point fingers a little bit at Taeju. The momentum was taken away. He underperformed tonight. But I think people would want to point fingers at Miro because he died so often on these attempted dives. But I don't think it was Miro's fault. I don't think it was his mistake. It was predictability on the team composition, the way that they use these dives. They struggled against Meta Athena with that same predictability. But the preparation on the side of Busan was incredible. They knew how to discord him. They shut down his dives. They controlled the high ground. Hureg had his best Soldier day ever because he was just able to sit up and shoot pot shots, fish in a barrel, man.
And
What
then
a series.
pulls out the first Doomfist of the day as well, and has the clutch moments in order to get them to that point. And at this stage, that was 6 points on Volskaya. How the hell do you do that? Like, that is insane against, you know, the champions of Apex for the last 2 seasons running, and still looking dominant here.
Never mind you the full push on King's Row with 1 minute, 1 second timing. Sure, they didn't get completion, but they were about 2 meters away. This team took momentum to another level. Their performance.
That whole push was in overtime as well. Like, just insane stuff from GC Busan.
Yeah, I mean, people were really giving a Freak of Freaks Blue the smack talk after what happened in the group stage.
Unfortunately, Freak of Freaks Blue were in the group of death.
Yeah, and now, as it turns out, I think we have to rethink that scoreline, as this was domination no one could have foreseen. And it's been a while since we've seen the Lunatic-Hai coach come in the booth with a frown on his face, but they will be going down to the losers match, and this changes everything. We're not going to have that runaway match with Lunatic-Hai everyone was hoping for.
Well, not yet, anyway. This is the thing. Like, as far as losers matches are concerned, we don't know how it is going to work. Like, potentially, like, Lunatic-Hai could get knocked out, or they could make it up in the lower bracket. Runaway could lose to GC Busan, and then we could have a lower bracket winner stays on match between Runaway and Lunatic-Hai. Like, I think there are so many storylines that could be completely insane.
I think for Prophet and Hureg, this will be a night they never forget for the rest of their lives. This is a moment. You can't even script this. You can't write this in a book. They had their best performances ever. The momentum was theirs. Cheering in the booth, fist bumping, and for a rookie player who made it through challengers, had his first round of 8 match against the defending champions 2-time, and the domination he showed. I mean,